Hello citizens and welcome back. This is our video on Jack Grealish where we ask, is he good enough for Manchester City? So make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new, hit subscribe. As always, let's jump into it. So Jack Grealish, you know, he's a tough one, isn't it? He's causing a lot of divide within the media, rival fan bases, and our own fans as well. A lot of people don't think he's at the standard of Manchester City. A lot of people don't think he's quite working out, and some are upset when he plays, you know, and it's easy to see why, really, when we look into the numbers. So if we go back to last season, because I think it's only fair, we have to think about when we signed him and the circumstances. Well, we signed him on the back of a very good England campaign. You know, he was one of Aston Villa's best players, if not their best player. You know, he was their captain. He was dragging them out of the mud when needed. He's winning games for them. And when he was playing for England, you know, during that Euro campaign, he's fantastic. And we didn't look the same team when he wasn't on the pitch. He was at the heart of pretty much everything good we did. You know, he was creating chances. You know, he was setting up important goals as well. And he was, you know, a big influence on us winning games and reaching the final. And that's when City signed him. Now, we signed him for £100 million, and that is a huge, huge transfer fee. And of course, it comes with its own pressures and its own expectations. And last season, he didn't really live up to it. You know, when we look at everyone else, we have to look at all our forwards last season. So Jack, to begin with, scored 6 goals and assisted 4 across all competitions. And he scored 3 in the Premier League. So he's got 6 goals, 4 assists. If we look at Phil Foden, he scored 14, assisted 11. Raheem Sterling has scored 17, assisted 8. Riyad Mahrez scored 24, assisted 9. Gabriel Jesus scored 13, assisted 11. And, you know, when you look at them stats, you can see how far behind Jack is. And you could argue that, well, he's new to Pep's system. He has to adapt to it. And a lot of people were saying that. A lot of people were saying it's his first season with Pep, or the players come good in the second season. But to put last season into context and to put his 6 goals, 4 assists into context, Ferran Torres scored 3, assisted 1. And Torres only played 7 games. Grealish played 39. That kind of shows you that he wasn't quite, you know, up to speed quickly with us. He didn't adapt very well at all. And he had a pretty poor season, really, with us. Of course, he got an important goal against West Ham towards the end of last season. But when you think about standing out moments, the only one I can think of is that Real Madrid game where he possibly could have scored 2 and probably should have scored at least 1 and took us to the final of the Champions League. And it didn't quite work out for him. So last season, it was poor. And like I said, when you look at £100 million, that is a lot of money. And it's, of course, the British record transfer fee. It's City's biggest transfer ever. So the eyes are on him. And going into this season, he needed to raise his levels. You know, he needs to perform more, and he needs to perform on a much more consistent basis. So far, he's only scored 1 goal and assisted 0. That's his contribution so far to the team. Although, I think that's also a little bit unfair, because I do think he, you know, he's basically doing what he did for Villa, but around him he's got better players at this club. You know, he's got Erling Haaland now in front of him. He's got Alvarez, who people want to play ahead of him. He's got Foden, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva. He's got quality players around him who are going to pull us out of the mud and, you know, win us games. We're not relying on him like Villa did, or England did on occasions. So, you know, he's got that where he's got much more pressure to perform at their level. And it's unfair to compare him to the other players on our team. But for £100 million, I don't think so, really. I think it's only right that we compare him to others, because we got Erling Haaland for half the price. We bought Alvarez for even less than that. And they're performing, they're exceeding expectations at the moment. And they're who the fans want to see. And at the moment, you have to say that if the fans want to see a player on the pitch, it's usually because they're performing well, because they're one of the better players. So, you know, Jack's got a lot to live up to and a lot to improve. And at the end of the Wolves game, which, to be fair, he went into that game with a lot of pressure and a lot of criticism. And when his name was, you know, announced on the team sheet, even our own fans, I got, you know, said it to a lot to me, that he shouldn't be playing, that Alvarez should be playing. You know, Foden, Alvarez and Haaland is, of course, the ideal front three that we want to see going forward. So he got a lot of criticism before the game started, but, you know, he scores after 56, 57 seconds, whatever it was. He was instrumental in Haaland's goal as well, when he fed the ball around the corner to Bernardo Silva. Without that touch, that goal doesn't get scored. And of course, he was massive in the Collins sending off when he got hit in the thigh, the studs. So he did have a very good game, but he does need to produce on a more consistent basis. And at the end of the game, he said in his interview, he needs to score more, he needs to assist more. So he knows what pressure's on him. He knows what he needs to do, and it's up to him to deliver now, because Pep's obviously given him the opportunity. Pep is giving him these chances. He needs to start taking them, otherwise the fans are not going to want to see him. It's going to get, a little bit, I'm not going to say toxic, but once the fans turn against you, and I'm not saying the fans will turn against him, because City fans generally don't do that, but he can fall out of favour with Pep quite quickly, and I don't want to see that happen. And for £100 million, it's a lot of money to spend on someone that hasn't worked out. And at the end of the game as well, and one of the reasons for this video, De Bruyne said in his interview that Jack is unfairly treated and unfairly criticised because he's English. Now, do I believe that? Not completely, no. I mean, people will mention the English bias, the media, the fans, and the teams themselves. They don't want to criticise English players. And sometimes I see, but I put that down to people having favourite players. In the media, even on Sky Sports, BT, the pundits, they're going to have their favourite players, their friends who they don't want to criticise. That's normal in any league, in any country. But with Jack, it's a little bit different, because Jack's getting heavily criticised by the media, pundits, and fans. So he doesn't really have that English bias. So for that English bias to go the other way, I'm not really sure on that one. But I will say, I just think it's the transfer tag. It's the £100 million tag on him. That's his pressure. That's his expectation. And he knows that, the club know it, and as fans, we know it as well, because we hear about it every day from everyone else, from the media, from rival fans. And I'm not saying you should listen to them completely and take on board everything they say and live your life through City from other fans. But £100 million is it's a big expectation, and he needs to do better. So for me, I won't say that he's flopped. I won't say that he's been disappointing. But I won't say that you need to drag him out of the team, because I was happy we signed him. I was glad when we did. I thought he was a really good player. I've been wanting to see him in a City shirt for a few years. And I want to see him in a City shirt for a few more years too. But I wouldn't say the start of the season's been fantastic. He needs to do more. But I am willing to give him till the end of the season as well. I think after 2 seasons, if he's not worked out, if he's still performing lower than expectations and he's performing worse than everyone else, then we should look at next season, maybe moving him on and recouping some of that money, perhaps. But we're a long way away from that yet, and I don't want to write him off just yet, because we've got World Cup coming up as well, and I think he's going to be one of England's more important players. So I say we hang on to him and give him another chance. And as fans, get behind him, and don't just don't criticise him too much, because again, he gets a lot of hate because of his off-field antics as well. And I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed in the Phil Foden thing earlier last season. But in the summer, when he's enjoying himself after the Euros and the season, he's just won the Premier League, I think he's allowed a break. I think he's allowed a holiday, and I don't see anything wrong with enjoying yourself outside of your job. I don't see anything wrong with that. But he's at a new club now. He's at a different kind of club where success is demanded, and whereas Aston Villa, where he could get away with getting beat by a team, or drawing with another one, in Manchester City, you can't be happy with any draw. You can't be happy with any defeat. You demand victory. You demand success on every front in every competition. And he's got to come to terms with that, and he's got to step up and perform like everyone else is performing. Like I said, last season's numbers is behind everyone else. There's no getting away from that. And he's only just ahead of Ferran Torres, who played 7 games. So, improvement needed. So let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know in the comments if he's unfairly criticised. Let me know if you think we should get rid of him already, or if you would bench him. Let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. And follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.